Hello everybody, and welcome back to the show. On this week's adventure, we're going back to the south shore of Kauai, to Mahaulepu. Now we've been to this area a couple of times before, when we saw the sacred cave, Gillen's Beach, and the cliffside just behind the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Well, this time we're going to expand on all of that, and we're going to follow the coastline trail all the way to the end. Well, at least what I perceive to be the end, because there's a barbed wire fence. Now you can do this exact same adventure via horseback. There are stables nearby. In fact, we're going to park right next to them. There's also a walking tour where a guide will walk you this trail and show you all kinds of points of interest and historical markers along the way. Now, because I do almost everything as cheaply as possible, I'm just going to hit the trail and see what's out there and what it's all about. Now, for this adventure, there's not a whole lot of swimming on this particular coastline. Now, for one, there's some serious cliffs. Two, there's some serious currents. And three, for the most part, everywhere there's beach and sand, the rocks come right up to the water's edge. And you don't want to walk barefoot on rocks because that's where fauna live. And if you're unfamiliar with fauna, they are spiny little sea urchins. And if you step on them, they will ruin your week, especially if you don't get it treated and have those little barbs removed. So here we go. We're just going to hit the south shore of Kauai, follow the coast, and see what's out there, see what it's all about. Now, forgive me if I don't name every single section of beach, cove, and bay that we hike through. I've found that in Kauai, you can be on one stretch of beach, throw a rock, and that rock will pass through 4 different named areas. So let's check out this hike on the south shore of Kauai. section of the cliff is really neat because it is riddled with lava tubes, and it is where the swell from the ocean can surge into the lava tubes, and you'll hear this ominous whooshing coming from random spots below trees. That's because those lava tubes extend pretty far inland, so even though you'll be well away from the water's edge, you'll be able to hear the whooshing and the roaring of the Swiss cheese holes underfoot. It's also kind of scary too, because you wonder at any given point, is some of that stuff going to give way and you're going to fall into this terrible meat grinder. Now, I keep a waterproof case on my camera most of the time, so I couldn't pick up the audio, but it's a really neat area if you find yourself down walking around here. Pay attention to what you hear, because you might hear that ocean just surging underneath your feet into these random lava tubes. It's pretty cool. Now, because the ocean ended up being really rough this day and I was unable to get in the water, which kind of brings a tear to my eye because I was looking forward to exploring some of these reefs that are a little harder to access. That's always where the best underwater exploration is, and typically the most game and the most sea life to see. So I ended up just carrying all my dive gear for no reason, never had a chance to use it. But I did have it with me just in case. It'd have been sad to walk out there and have it turn out to be a nice calm day and then not be able to get in the water to see what was under there. Now that brings me to a point about gear that I wished I would have mentioned in my gear episode. In Kauai, it's great to have a dry bag, so you can have all your gear in there kept dry in case a random squall comes over, which will happen, that dumps like an inch of rain on you all of a sudden, and then the sky clears up again into a nice sunny day. So because it's me, and I have a tendency to find just random and unexpected things on almost all of my adventures. So here we have another random shrine. Now, unlike the shrine I found at the No Name Reef video, check out that video if you haven't seen it yet, I found an amazing shell. Here we have a shrine that appears to be old, but it's hard to tell because things can age really rapidly in this climate. Now, unlike the one I found at No Name Reef, which I don't think was an ancient Hawaiian thing, more probably it's some recent white girl stuff. It's the only way I can describe it. This one perhaps could be some ancient Hawaiian stuff and super sacred, so I tiptoe very gently around it, very respectfully. I investigated a little bit just to see what it's all about, and then back out slowly. Thank you, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone. But it's irresistible, I had to see it. So check out this random shrine that I have a little more expectations of it being authentic. Now, after walking several miles in the Hawaiian heat, it's always good to take a rinse off just before you get back in your vehicle, even if it's like a mile before your vehicle, as is in the case right here. Now, what you're looking for to get in the water is obviously a sandy area, and most of this coastline, the rocks come right up to the water's edge, and as we've discussed before, you don't want to walk barefoot on rocks because you don't want to step on spiny sea urchins. But this is one spot that has a nice sand entrance. It's very small. You can get in and rinse off and just kind of cool it. And I did see the monk seal that had left the tracks way earlier in this adventure. Unfortunately, that monk seal was really fast. He just cruised up, checked me out, and then cruised away to go about his monk seal business. But really, this was a great adventure. Solid win. Pretty easy walking. I mean, walking in sand is always kind of difficult, but you're really only on sand for the first mile and a half or so. unless the gate is open, in which case you can drive all the way to where the beach ends. You could do a shorter hike.